Welcome to Talk Travel with Heather Tate, North Mississippi's podcast for savvy travelers. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is a weekly podcast that airs every Monday on the Shark 102.3 FM radio station based in Ripley, Mississippi, and is then released as a podcast. Travel advisor and travel enthusiast Heather Tate of Whimsical Destinations gives listeners expert travel tips curated through the years of personal and professional experience. By clicking subscribe, you'll have a new travel tip to add to your collection delivered to your podcast library every Monday. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is brought to you by Sun Bear Studio. Sun Bear Studio is a boutique recording studio in the heart of Ripley, Mississippi. When you record with us at Sun Bear Studio, we can mix, master, register, and publish your music, your podcast, or your family story. Email us when you're ready at sunbear@jc.media.
This program was recorded at Sun Bear Studio in Ripley, Mississippi.
This is part one of a two-part series on Kauai, the Garden Isle. Good morning, Northeast Mississippi travelers. This is Heather with Talk Travel with Heather Tate, and I'm so excited to share my adventures and tried and true tips with you. Whether you are also a seasoned traveler, a hopeful traveler, or currently an armchair traveler, meaning you're going to follow along with us from home for now. This is our 210th episode of Talk Travel with Heather Tate, and this week I am taking you to Kauai, the Garden Isle. I have an unofficial rule to not travel the week of the 4th, but I have now broken this rule twice. First, last year when we went to Croatia. That is the week of July 4th when our yacht experience was going to be taking place. So we were traveling that week. And then this year, we got to go to Hawaii for the very first time. And it was one of those experiences when I didn't get to pick the dates because we actually went with our vacation club. We have been members for 19 years. And Hawaii is one of those destinations that it is really difficult to get to use one of your weeks for. And we have tried many times without finding any availability. And I've told Logan before, I was like, if you ever see a week, whenever it is for Kauai, grab it because I want to go. I want to go to all 50 states by the time I'm 50. And so Hawaii's definitely been on my list. And I know that Hawaii, I knew that it was going to be a really big expense. Like it was going to be a big trip. So I was like, I would like to go where we have our accommodations through our vacation club. So last year, Logan comes home from work one day, and after work he checked the website regularly, and a week popped up for the 4th of July, and so he just grabbed it. So I was like, okay, well, we're traveling again 2 years in a row, the week of the 4th. But within just a span of a few weeks, this is how funny this worked out. We actually traveled from coast to coast because you heard how we had a road trip to Pennsylvania. So we went to the East Coast, and now just a few weeks later, we were going again. So it was not ever our intention for these two trips to be so close together, but that's how it worked. So we didn't pick the time. The time just happened to be available this week, and we grabbed it. So we ended up flying to Seattle for our layover, which was on the 4th of July. So on our nation's 250th birthday, we did not see any fireworks, but we did fly all the way from Atlanta to Seattle. So London made the point, because he was looking out the window and I was seated beside him, that on the 4th of July, he got to basically fly across the country. And so that was a really cool experience. So let me give you some facts about Kauai. It is known as the Garden Isle. It is the oldest Hawaiian island formed by volcanoes, like all of the islands in Hawaii. It is home to the Waimea Canyon, which until researching for this trip, I had never even heard of. It is known as the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. Here's another interesting thing that Logan discovered, that Kauai is roughly the same size land area as Lee County, Mississippi. Now, it takes longer because of the topography. You have a lot more mountains and a winding coastline to drive along. So it feels much bigger to me than Lee County does, but square mileage, they're right at the same. Also, it's the wettest spot on Earth. Mount Wailea is the wettest spot on Earth, and that is in Kauai. Another thing that's very interesting is the building codes here in Kauai. So now this is not what most people think of Hawaii when they're thinking Oahu, Pearl Harbor, Waikiki, Honolulu. This is another island. It is smaller, less populated, but I feel like it is more what in my mind I thought Hawaii would be. So definitely I feel like less commercialized Hawaii. But when I talked about the building codes, no building can be taller than a coconut palm tree. So right at 4 stories tall, 4 stories and under. Also, it is the filming location of popular movies such as Jurassic Park and Avatar, actually really inspired Avatar. And they were both filmed here, and it has the largest coffee estate in the U.S. We went to Kauai Coffee Estate. It was wonderful. And so there's so many things in this small little island that that make it unique. And it is one of the most beautiful places I can say I have ever been. And so I'm going to share a little bit about what we did that full week, where we stayed, activities, some cultural highlights, food, beaches, favorite moments. I'm going to share some of those with you this week. There's so much to share. I know I'm not going to get to everything this week, but I wanted to at least skim the surface for you. Now, we stayed, like I said, at a resort, and it's called Ponokai, and it was in Kapa'a. Now, some of these names, like I thought I would not be able to pronounce them because it is completely different from anything else. And by the end of it, we got pretty good, but it's still a lot of vowels in these names. So we had a condo that was a 1-bedroom with a loft. So really it felt like 2 bedrooms, living room, kitchen, which I'll be honest, we didn't use very often because when I travel, I personally like to go and eat the local foods. So I'm like, I can cook at home, and I know everybody travels differently. And one way to get the cost down would be to eat more in your condo. That's just not me. We definitely had snacks. We had water. If we had leftovers and we needed an extra meal that day, we would warm those up. But I didn't cook any meals. And I'm not sad about that at all. Location-wise, Ponokai was in a perfect spot. We were on the West Coast. Am I wrong? No, I'm wrong. East Coast. We're on the East Coast. And it is much rainier on the north, and it's sunnier on the south and the west. And so we were on the east, and it did rain every day. At some point, it rained every day. It usually felt like it was just like a grocery store mist, like the mist they put on the vegetables to make sure that they stay nice and fresh. That's what Kauai feels like constantly. Someone turns the sprinklers on you. It's not going to rain for very long, and it may not rain very hard, but it is going to rain almost constantly is what it felt like. So we were in a great central location where we could go up to the north one day. We could go over to the south. We literally explored the entire island, just not all the way around at once, because the way the rugged coastline is on the northwest, there is not a road that's going to take you all the way around the outside of the island like I'm used to in the Caribbean. All right, let's talk about some of the food first. The best shaved ice, hands down, I've ever had. We're talking fresh fruit juices, real pieces of fruit. It was incredible. I absolutely loved the shaved ice there. Nothing has compared to that for me. Macadamia nuts are very plentiful. So the first morning, full morning we were there, I had macadamia nut pancakes. And then almost every day after that, we found a local place that was in Kapa'a. We could actually walk to it if we really wanted to instead of drive. And we had a mac nut latte. And I became obsessed with the mac nut lattes, and we went there 5 times at least. Very good. I can say I also had the best hot dog I've ever had in my life from Puka Dog. And it is in Popoi Beach. And I was going just because it was one of those that said that you just have to try it. Now, if you know anything about me and have heard me say in episodes past, I am a vegetarian. So how did I eat a hot dog? Well, they have a vegan hot dog version, and then they had the Polish sausage hot dog version. So in our family of 4, 3 of us had the vegetarian one, and only one of us had the actual meat hot dog, but it was the same bun, same sauces, and that's really where it was at. I do not like hot dogs for a texture issue, but I can say it was the best hot dog I've ever had, if you trust a vegetarian to tell you about hot dogs. But my husband and the boys also said best hot dog they've ever had. They also do not love hot dogs. However, it's the Hawaiian roll. It's the atmosphere, the experience, being right across the street from the beach where all the sea turtles are going to come up at sunset to sleep on the beach. So you go, you wait in line. We were probably in line for about 30 minutes. That line can be out the door at Puka Dog an hour long. Anthony Bourdain made this place really famous when he came to visit. No reservations, famous travel writer, and he dubbed it the best hot dog in the world. And so I would agree with that. So we went, got our hot dogs, and went and sat right at the most perfect location for watching the sea turtles. We were at a little picnic table. The sun was setting. It started to rain again for a little bit, which meant there were rainbows, even a double rainbow. So it was beautiful. Best setting I've ever had as well for a hot dog. Food trucks were plentiful. And that's where we ate for a lot of our lunches, for sure. Some great experiences. Actually, one of the best food trucks, if not the best food truck in the world, is located there. And so lots of fresh seafood. Also, a lot of Asian options. And some really good Thai food. And it was wonderful. I had some pad thai that was very good. Acai bowls. Logan and I were ready to fight over our acai bowl. It was so good. Same breakfast place where we had our mac nut lattes. We would go and have the best breakfast burritos. So we ate a lot of really good food. Had some delicious tacos one day, or the day that we explored Waimea Canyon. Open air restaurants are very common, and we had some beautiful at sunset restaurant experiences, all open air. We tried hula pie, which is famous in Hawaii. Imagine an ice cream sundae in a pie is what it was like. It was like an ice cream pie with hot fudge on top. We had some Italian one day. We had sushi, where they get their sushi flown in from Japan. So here's the thing about Hawaii that I don't realize. When you look at a map, okay, Hawaii is not part of the continental 48 states. We know that, right? It's somewhere in the Pacific. What you don't realize until you take 11 hours flying to get there is how remote the Hawaiian Islands are. I'm used to the Caribbean. I go down to the Caribbean all the time, and it's such a short flight, whereas Hawaii, 11 hours. I could have been anywhere in Europe for less time that it took, especially because we had a really long layover in Seattle. We had a 6-hour layover both ways in Seattle, so a lot of time to get there. So for me personally, if you don't have at least 7 nights, Hawaii would not even be on my list to even go. Maybe if I were going to Oahu, 6 nights. But I really feel like since it's such a journey to get there and the jet lag is really intense, I recommend at least 7 nights. All right. So we talked about food. Let me tell you about the activities we did. We had some incredible activities. We went mountain river tubing, which was the boys' first experience tubing, and it was a great one because it was a sugar plantation. So these are the irrigation canals. So they were hand dug, and you would go through tunnels as well, 5 different tunnels. You had headlamps that you could turn on the lights. It was only 3 feet deep, and these were not rapids. Very calm, lazy river. type experience. So it was great for beginners. So like you could have young children, do this and I wouldn't feel as nervous because I'll be honest, I know whitewater rafting, having done it before, that's not something on my list to do with my boys. I have been terrified whitewater rafting before, and I cannot imagine trying to keep up with the boys and going on the rapids myself. But I wanted that kind of experience. So maybe like a nice, relaxing river tubing. And I've done that in different places. But to me, this was a fantastic entry level. We want to go tubing. Are our kids old enough? Are they going to really enjoy it? It was enough adventure for London without too much intensity for Christian. So it was a great blend. So would I say for all ages? No, but I would say, comfortably a lot of ages would fit with this. This is the end of part 1 of Kauai, the Garden Isle. Please tune in next week so you can hear part 2. That's all the time we have for this week's episode of Talk Travel with Heather Tate. Remember, life is an adventure. Take the trip, make those memories. You won't regret it.
This show is made possible by JC Media, LLC in Ripley, Mississippi. JC Media owns the Shark 102.3 Classic Rock FM radio station where the show is hosted. Subscribe to our podcast on your favorite app or stream episodes online at shark1023.com/podcast. We also have an email in which you can share your feedback. That email is theshark1023@gmail.com.